Hey everyone! Today we're diving into how to approach the Berkeley Haas MBA essays. I was admitted to Haas with a 40K scholarship as part of the class of 2027. In this video, I'll walk you through how I tackled each essay. We'll also cover how to brainstorm your essay ideas, how to make your essays more compelling, and how to add that personal touch that really makes your essays stand out. I just saw that there were some updates to the essay questions. Now there are 2 essays and a supplemental information section. However, I believe the core still remains the same, so this video should still help you find your answers to the updated prompts as well. Until last year, Haas required 3 essays, each 300 words long. The first essay is pretty unique. It asks what inspires you. This question has now been turned into a video prompt, but the wording remains the same. You'll just need to be more concise since you only have 2 minutes to respond. The second is your classic MBA question, your motivation for pursuing an MBA and your career goals. This one hasn't changed. And the third focuses on the leadership with a strong emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's now replaced by the distance traveled section. The prompt is different, but it still gets at your core values. So I'll share an example to show how you can tie your values to your experience. Let's break down each one. Personally, the first question was the hardest. I had no idea what it was really asking. To get some clarity, I attended a session hosted by Haas and asked the admissions team for advice. They mentioned that the goal of this question is simply to get to know you better. It could be personal or professional. Since I plan to cover my professional journey in other parts of the application, I decided to go with something personal. I chose something that genuinely excites me, surfing. It's one of the few things that makes me jump out of bed in the morning. I like my job, but not that much. At first, I brainstormed multiple values I could write about. Bonding with fellow surfers, the thrill of embracing challenges, but listing them diluted the message. So I focused on the one that resonated most deeply with me, resilience. The ocean threw me around countless times, but I kept pedaling out until I could finally ride a wave. That taught me persistence. I included a detailed anecdote about my first day surfing to make the story vivid and personal, but something still felt missing. I realized I needed to explain why I took up surfing in the first place and how the resilience I built through surfing has helped me face real-life challenges. Once I added that personal context and connection, the essay felt much more complete. Alright, moving on to the second question. This one is a classic MBA prompt. Almost every school asks a version of it. If you want to dive deeper into this type of essay, check out my video on tackling the Kellogg MBA questions. It's essentially the same structure. The main difference with Haas is that the word count is tight, so I had to condense my professional background a bit. As this question asks about my career goals, I focused more on my short-term and long-term goals. I thought the best way to approach this essay was to share a clear vision that encompasses both your short-term and long-term goals. If you include an anecdote, something that inspired your career aspirations, it would really make your essay stand out. It could be a childhood memory, a key moment at work, or any meaningful experience that shaped your ambition. During a session with the Haas admissions team, they shared that it's perfectly okay to say you're still exploring and open to new paths, which is, after all, a big part of why people pursue an MBA. And I'm also open to discovering new opportunities. Still, for the sake of writing a strong and focused essay, I chose to highlight one specific goal that excites me the most right now. The last question asks about a leadership experience. For this one, pick a value from the defining leadership principles and show how you demonstrated it to create a more inclusive and diverse environment. DEI is a major focus in the US, but it wasn't something I was deeply familiar with at first. Coming from a more homogeneous country like Korea, I had to do some research to understand what DEI looks like in practice. There are many great YouTube videos on promoting DEI which helped me brainstorm ideas for this topic. It doesn't have to be something fancy. Think about how you've supported marginalized groups. Maybe you've advocated for women or pregnant employees, volunteered with underprivileged kids, or worked across culture to bridge communication gaps. Even spending some time abroad and bringing that experience back to enrich your community counts. For my essay, I wrote about a time during undergrad when a foreign student joined their class, which was pretty uncommon at that time. I knew how isolating it could feel to be the only non-Korean student in a room full of locals, so I made an effort to help her feel welcome and included. She ended up sharing valuable insights that benefited us all, which reinforced my belief in the importance of embracing DEI. To wrap up the essay, I tied the story directly to the defining leadership principles and reflected on the kind of leader I want to become, just to make the connection really clear. When writing your essay, it's really difficult to come up with the right topic, so here are some tips on how to brainstorm your topics. When you're starting out, get everything down. Don't think, just write. List any memory, moments, or thought that comes to your mind. I literally wrote down my life year by year from birth to now, listing key events and the lessons I learned along the way. And don't do it alone. Talk to your friends and family. They might remind you of something you forgot or see something special in a moment you thought was boring. Sometimes what feels ordinary to you might actually be a great story. Once you've got some ideas, think of one core value you want to communicate in each essay. You want to present yourself as a well-rounded person. So for me, in the first essay, I focused on resilience, the second one on stepping out of my comfort zone, the last one on emotional strength. The same story can be told in different ways depending on how you describe it. You could frame it to show your leadership, creativity, or persistence. So think about what you want the reader to take away and shape the story around that. A lot of people worry, what if I don't have a big dramatic story? And guess what? Most people don't. So it's perfectly okay. You don't need to have a Nobel Prize moment. What matters is how you interpret your experience. For example, moving around a lot might seem like a dull story, but if you talk about how it taught you to adapt quickly or helped you connect with new people, now you've got a compelling story. There are a lot of application sessions that Haas offers, so I highly recommend that you attend and ask any questions you have. Haas also runs a student ambassador system where you can chat directly with students there. If you need more general advice on MBA admissions process or writing essays, check out my related videos or leave a comment. I'll be back with the next video on how to tackle UCLA Anderson essays. See you!